the haunted bed. Daniel didn't believe in ghosts. At least, that's what he always told people. Growing up, his mother often warned him about strange things in the world. Things that couldn't be explained. She believed old houses had memories, and that some objects carried more than just history. Daniel always laughed those stories off. To him, everything had a logical explanation. But that belief would slowly begin to crumble the night he brought home an old wooden bed. The move. After months of searching, Daniel finally found a small apartment on the outskirts of the city. It wasn't fancy, but it was affordable. The place had old wooden floors, thin walls, and the faint smell of dust that never seemed to go away. Still, Daniel liked it. It felt quiet, peaceful. The only problem was that the apartment came almost completely empty. So Daniel started browsing online marketplaces, looking for cheap, secondhand furniture. That's when he found it. An old wooden bed frame being sold for almost nothing. The photo showed a dark, heavy frame made of thick oak wood. It looked old, but sturdy. The seller only wrote a short description. Used bed frame, good condition, must pick up tonight. Daniel didn't think much about it. Cheap furniture was exactly what he needed. The seller. When Daniel arrived at the address, he noticed something strange immediately. The house looked abandoned. Paint was peeling off the walls. The front yard was overgrown with weeds, and the porch light flickered weakly. An older man opened the door. His face looked tired, and his eyes seemed unusually nervous.
"You're here for the bed?"
the man asked. Daniel nodded. The man led him inside without another word. The bed frame was already disassembled and leaning against the wall. As Daniel inspected the wood, he noticed deep scratches carved into one of the head. They looked almost like claw marks.
"You can take it for $50.
The man said quickly. That cheap? Daniel asked. The man hesitated for a moment. Then he said something strange.
"Just don't ask where it came from."
Daniel laughed awkwardly, assuming the man was joking. He paid the money, loaded the pieces into his truck, and drove home. The first night. That night, Daniel assembled the bed in his bedroom. The wood creaked slightly as he tightened the final screws. But once everything was finished, the bed looked solid, heavy, strangely imposing. Daniel placed his mattress on top and went to sleep. The first night seemed normal. Almost. Around 3:12 a.m., Daniel woke up suddenly. He wasn't sure why. The room felt colder than before. And for a moment, he had the strange feeling that someone else was in the room. He looked around. Nothing. Just darkness. Daniel shook his head and went back to sleep. The next night was different. Daniel woke up again, but this time, he heard something. A faint sound, like fabric slowly sliding across the floor. His heart started beating faster.
"Hello?"
Daniel called out into the darkness. No answer. The sound stopped. After a few seconds, Daniel convinced himself it was probably just the old apartment settling. But when he turned on the bedside lamp, something caught his attention. At the foot of the bed, there were faint indentations in the mattress, as if someone had been sitting there. Daniel stared at them for a long time. Then he slowly reached out and pressed the mattress. The shape disappeared. He told himself it was nothing. Just his imagination, the dreams. Over the next few nights, Daniel began having the same dream again and again. In the dream, he was lying in the same bed, unable to move, and standing beside the bed was a woman. Her face was pale. Her hair hung down over her shoulders, covering most of her face, but Daniel could still see her eyes. They were filled with something terrible. Not anger, not hatred, something worse, sorrow. Every time he tried to speak to her, he woke up, sweating, heart racing. The past. A week later, Daniel finally mentioned the strange dreams to his mother during a phone call. His mother became very quiet. Then she asked a question that made Daniel uneasy.
Daniel R.,
You sleeping well lately?
Daniel hesitated.
Not really?
His mother sighed softly.
Sometimes old things carry memories.
She said. Daniel rolled his eyes.
Mom, it's just a bed.
But after the call ended, Daniel couldn't stop thinking about the dreams and about the woman, because deep down, she looked familiar, very familiar. Emily. Daniel hadn't thought about Emily in years. They had dated for almost 3 years. Emily was kind, quiet, and always believed in things Daniel never took seriously. Ghosts, dreams, signs. She used to say that some objects held energy from the past. Daniel always teased her about it. But everything ended one rainy night. Emily had called him, asking him to meet her. She sounded upset. Daniel was busy and told her they would talk later. Emily insisted she needed to see him. Frustrated, Daniel hung up. That was the last time he ever spoke to her, because only hours later, Emily died in a car accident. Her car had crashed on a dark highway outside the city. Daniel went to the funeral, but he never forgave himself for ignoring her last call. Over time, he forced himself to forget, or at least pretend to, until the dreams began. Because the woman standing beside the bed looked exactly like Emily, the night visitor. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. The memory of Emily lingered in his mind. Around 3 a.m., the sound returned, soft, slow, like someone dragging their fingers along the wooden floor. Daniel opened his eyes, and this time, he saw her, standing beside the bed. The same pale face, the same dark hair.
Emily.
Daniel froze. His voice barely worked.
Emily.
She didn't answer. She only stared at him, her eyes filled with sadness. And then, she slowly raised one hand, pointing toward the door. The accident. The next morning, Daniel left the apartment feeling exhausted and confused. He kept telling himself that what he saw wasn't real, just stress, just dreams. But the image of Emily standing beside the bed refused to leave his mind. As he drove down the highway on his way to work, the rain began to fall heavily. The road grew slick and blurry beneath the rushing water. Daniel rubbed his tired eyes. For just a moment, he glanced into the rearview mirror, and his blood turned cold. Because in the reflection, he thought he saw someone sitting in the back seat, a pale figure, watching him. Daniel turned around instinctively, and in that single moment of distraction, the headlights of an oncoming truck exploded into his vision. The sound of screeching brakes tore through the storm. Then everything went black. Epilogue. Weeks later, the old bed frame appeared again on an online marketplace listing. Same photo, same scratches on the wood, same short description. Used bed frame, good condition, must pick up tonight. And somewhere, in another apartment, someone new would soon bring it home, not knowing that some objects never truly let go of the past.